Hey, fourth graders, it's Mrs. Compton, and today we're doing your fourth grade chapter 8 review. So let's get started. Question number 1 says, what are the next 4 multiples of 1/8? And I want you to remember, a multiple is what you say when you count by a number. For example, multiples of 10 would be 10, 20, 30, so on. So multiples of 1/8 would be 1/8. Okay, but it says the next 4. So the next 4 would be 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, otherwise known as 1/2, but we're going to leave it as 4/8 for this because we're talking multiples of 1/8 and then 5/8. Okay, so and we would end right there because we only needed to list the next 4, starting with 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8. All right, number 2. Marta is making 3 servings of fruit salad. She adds 3/8 cup blueberries for each serving. Her measuring cup holds 1/8 cup. How many times must Marta measure 1/8 cup of blueberries to have enough for the fruit salad? Shade the model to show your answer. Okay, so this is a story problem that I can really imagine in my mind, and I hope that you are doing some visualization too. So she has a 1/8 measuring cup. Okay, that's super tiny, right? Usually the smallest ones that come in the standard measuring cups are 1/4, and 1/8 is half of that. She needs 3/8 cup blueberries for each serving. So how many times would she have to go and dip that 1/8 cup in? All right, and then it says we have to shade the models to show our answer. So here are the models. So she's making 3 servings of fruit salad. So this model must be 1 serving of fruit salad. So as I'm looking at it, I'm looking, okay, this is 1 serving, this is the second serving, and the third serving. And in each of the fruit salads, she's going to have 3/8 cup blueberries. All right, for each serving. So we'll put 1/8 and another 1/8 and another 1/8 would make 3/8, right? 1/8, 2/8, 3/8. So she would have to do that 3 times for 1 serving, another 3 times for 2 servings, and another 3 times for 3 servings. So that means she's going to have to dip that cup in there all those times, right? So the answer is not 3 times. The answer is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times. So she's going to have to dip her measuring cup in 9 times. I think you have a little spot to write that. Oh yeah, there it is. You would put your 9 right there. See if I can get it there. Oh. There we go. Number 3, Mickey exercises 3/4 hour every day. How many hours does he exercise in 8 days? Okay, we could solve this in a few different ways. We could count by 3/4 8 times, so you could count by multiples, or you could solve 3/4 times 8, right? 3/4 times 8. Okay, and we're multiplying by the whole number 8 because it's 8 whole days, right? So we know we can do 3/4, and another 3/4 would be 6/4. And maybe you could use that information to help you and figure out, all right, if 2 days worth would be 6/4, then 4 days worth. Let's actually do that. We'll do a couple different ways. So 3/4 would be 1 day. So 6/4 would make 2 days. 6/4, 2 days. I'm just going to put 2D because it takes too long to write. And then let's see. I'm going to make this page longer. So then if we can double this one, we'll get 4 days, right? So that would be 12/4 would be 4 days. $40. And then, well, we know that if we double 4 days, we'll get 8 days, right? So we doubled 12 to 24 fourths, and that would make 8 days. Now, the whole thing, though, is this is an improper fraction. So we have to turn it into either a mixed number or a whole number, right? So 24 fourths, well, 24 divided by 4 makes 6. So this is equal to 6 hours, right? So 6 hours is the same as 24 fourths, which is the same as 8 days. So you could solve it that way, or you could just do this if you know how to do this. 3/4 times 8. You could put 8 over 1, making it a whole number. 3 times 8 is 24, and 4 times 1 is 4. So we end up with 24 fourths either way, right? Which is equal to 6. Number 4, Molly is baking Molly is baking for the Moms and Muffins event at her school. She will bake 4 batches of banana muffins. She needs 1 3/4 cups of bananas for each batch of muffins. All right. This is going to be a 2-parter question. So let's make sure we really understand what's being asked of us. Okay, so Molly is baking muffins. Okay, got it. She will bake 4 batches of banana muffins. She needs 1 3/4 cup of bananas for each batch. Of muffins. Okay. Part A. Molly completed the multiplication below, and she said she needed 8 cups of bananas for 4 batches of muffins. What is Molly's error? Okay, so we know Molly's doing something wrong. So we're basically just investigators at this point. So let's see if we can figure that out. 4 times 1 3/4. Okay, so 4 batches times 1 3/4 times 1 3/4 equals 4 times 8/4. Okay, so let's see. Which is equal to 32 fourths, which is equal to 8. All right. I'm wondering if something went wrong here. She did have to do 4 times 1 3/4, but when she turned it into an improper fraction, did she get it right? And it looks like no, because this, I know 8/4 is actually equal to 2 wholes, not the same as 1 3/4. So I guess we need to write down Molly did not write the mixed number 1 3/4. I know it looks funny when I type it out like that, but this is the 3/4, okay? So 1 3/4 as a fraction correctly. And then maybe we could even state what 1 3/4 would be. So 1 3/4 is equal to, all right, so 1 whole would be 4/4, and 3/4 would be added onto the 4/4. So 4/4 plus 3/4 equals 7/4. So we would write 7/4. All right. Let's check out what part B is asking us to do. What are the correct number of cups Molly needs for 4 batches of muffins? Explain how you found your answer. Okay, perfect. We were actually already on our way to this. So we know for sure that we can kind of use this information here. Let's see if I can grab it all. Let's take this and move it to the next page. Do our thinking here. Okay, we know that this part was right, but this part was not. So let's see. Let's actually change this. So we know that this should not be 8/4, it should be 7/4. So that's going to change the rest of it, right? So let's go ahead and do this now. We'll see if we can get this figured out. 4 times — all right, so how would you do that? So maybe you would think about 7/4 and you would count it out 4 times. Is that what you might do? Let's see. Let's talk strategy. So, oops, not want red, black. So 7/4 plus another 7/4 plus another 7/4. Okay, let me copy paste so we don't have to sit through and watch it all. Okay, that's the same as 4 groups of 7/4, right? So 7, 14, 21, 28. So I know it's going to be 28/4. So over here, I'm going to write 28/4. 28/4. And I know 28 divided by 4 makes 7. So I think my answer is actually 7, or Molly's answer should actually be 7. Now, maybe you decided that you don't really want to do this addition, right? You'd rather look at it as the multiplication. So you could write 4/1. That's the same as 4 wholes times 7/4 equals 28/4. So we get the same thing, 28/4, which is also equal to 7. All right, now it also does say that we have to explain how we found our answer. So we should say our answer is she will need 7 cups. And we have to explain. So first I wrote 1 3/4 as the fraction 7/4. Then I multiplied, or whatever you did, right? 7, or excuse me, you multiplied 4 times 7/4, which equals 28/4 equals 7. Okay, or something to that effect. All right, number 5. Which fraction is a multiple of 1/9? Mark all that apply. All right, we're super lucky on this one because all we have to do is basically say yes or no. If you count by 1/9, will you say this number? So 1/9, 2/9, 3/9, 4/9, 5/9, 6/9, so on and so on. So here's 3/9. That's a yes. This one is 9/12. Well, when I count by a multiple of 1/9, all of the denominators will be 9. So that one's out, and that actually means automatically 9/10 is also out. And 2/9 will be in, 4/9 will be in, 9/9 will be in, because I will say all of those numbers when I count by 1/9. Number 6. Mimi recorded a soccer game that lasted 1 2/3 hours. She watched it 3 times over the weekend to study the plays. How many hours did Mimi spend watching the soccer game? Show your work. All right. Mimi is obviously really into soccer, right? She's studying the plays. She's probably going over them with her coach. I bet some of you probably do that too. All right. So we know that the soccer game lasted 1 2/3 hours, and we know that she watched it 3 times. Okay. So we know that we're going to be solving 3 times 3 groups of 1 2/3. Okay, and again, you might have a different strategy for solving than I do. Of course, that's fine. I'll just kind of go over a couple different strategies, and then whatever makes sense to you is the one you use. All right, so if I were to do 3 times 1 2/3, I'm going to move this down here so that I can do some work. Maybe you like to multiply the whole numbers first, so maybe you do the 3 times the 1 first. And then maybe you decided, okay, then I'll do the 3 times the 2/3 and then add them together. 3 times 2/3. And remember, that's the same as just counting by 2/3 3 times. So 2/3, 4/3, 6/3. So this part would equal 6/3. And of course, you know this part equals 3, right? 3 plus 6/3. Make sure that looks like a 6. I'm not sure it does. So 3 plus 6/3. Now, 6/3 is made up of 3/3 and another 3/3. So this is worth 1 whole. This is worth 1 whole. So I know that 6/3 is worth 2 wholes. So 3 plus 2 equals 5. So I know 3 times 1 2/3 equals 5. All right, and it did say we have to show our work. It doesn't say we have to explain our thinking. So I think we are good to go for this one. Number 7, Theo is comparing shark lengths. He learned that a horned shark is 2 3/4 feet long. A blue shark is 4 times as long. Complete the model, then find the length of a blue shark. Okay, so we know for sure that a horned shark is 2 3/4 feet long. Okay, so they're actually super tiny. Okay, now we know for sure that a blue shark is longer than a horned shark. It's actually 4 times as long. All right, now it says complete the model. So under here, of course, is the model. So we've got the horned shark, 2 3/4. And you can see the blue shark, here's the blue shark, is 1, 2, 3, 4 times as long. So we're actually going to have this 4 times. Right? Okay, so now the part we have to do is solve. So we have to figure out what is 2 3/4 times 4. So maybe you want to do the whole numbers first. So 2 times 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's actually try that out. So let me move this down here. Here we go. Oy! No. I just want to grab this. There we go. That's all I needed. I'll move this right back. All right, there we go. So 2 3/4 times 4 is what I am going to do. So times 4. Okay. So would you like to use the distributive property? It just kind of depends on how you like to solve. I know a lot of kids like the distributive property. So let's try that again. So 2 times 4, so that's the whole numbers times the whole numbers, plus 3/4 times 4. All right. So I know you already know 2 times 4 is 8. So that part's done. Now we have to figure out 3/4 times 4. So it's the same as doing 3/4, 6/4, and then some kids might choose to double 6/4 because that would give you the total for 4 times 4. Or you might just keep going. So 3/4, 6/4, 9/4, 12/4. So 12/4. 12/4 is made up of 4/4, another 4/4, and another 4/4. So it's the same as 3. So this is the same as 8 plus 3, which is 11. So a blue shark is 11 feet long. Number 8. Joel made a number line showing the multiples of 3/5. Okay, so we've got a number line starting at 0, going to 11/5, but noticing though that the hops are not going to 11/5. The hops actually stop at 9/5. It says the product of 2 times 3/5 is shown by the fraction blank on the number line. Okay, so this would be 1 times 3/5, and this would be 2 times 3/5, right? Because this is the second hop of 3/5. So the answer to that would be 6/5. I think they're probably trying to throw us off here by including another hop, and we did not need it. So be careful. Number 9, Bobby has baseball practice. I'm going to go ahead and think that that is probably supposed to say Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Each practice is 2.5 hours long. Bobby says he will have practice for 4 hours this week. Part A, without multiplying, explain how you know Bobby's incorrect. All right, so Bobby has practice 3 times a week, right? Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We know that he's going to be wrong because 3 days, Bobby is wrong because 3 days times 2 hours per day would be 6 hours. So he has to be, he will practice more than 6 hours in 3 days. Okay, so we know that that's why he's wrong, because it cannot be 4 hours if already we have estimated low and he's going to practice 6 hours. Part B, how long will Bobby have baseball practice this week? Okay, so now we actually have to solve it. Okay, so we're going to do 3 days. 3 days times 2.5. So 3 days times 2.5. Okay. So how would you solve this? Maybe some of you would turn this mixed number into an improper fraction. Let's try that this time. Maybe some of you would use the distributive property. It just depends on what you want to do to solve, right? Okay, so let's go ahead, grab this, move it down here. Okay, so 3 times 2.5 is the same as 3 times, and then let's make this an improper fraction. So 2 is made up of 2 halves, so that's a whole, and then another whole, another 2 halves, and then plus that 1/2. So 2, 4, 5 halves. So 3 times 5 halves. That's the same thing, right? Okay, so we can put our 3/1 times 5 halves equals 15 halves. Or you could say 15/2, same thing. Okay, now, of course, we still need to put this into a mixed number or a whole number, whatever it equals. So 15 can be divided by 2 7 times. So I know 14 divided by 2 is 7. And then there would be 1 left. So 1/2 left. So we know that this is going to be 7.5 hours. HRS, right? For our abbreviation. Number 10, look at the number line, write the missing fractions. Ooh, all right, so let's see. Starting at 0, increasing by 1/6, another 1/6, increasing by another 1/6. Okay, so basically you're just counting by 1/6. So 8/6, this would be 9/6, 10/6, 11/6, and 12/6. So we know that this number line starts at 0. This is 1 right here, and it would end at 2, right? That's just like a little bonus info. All right, number 11. Anna's dachshund weighs 5 5/8 pounds when it was born. By age 4, the dog weighed 6 times as much. Fill in each box with a number or symbol from the list to show how to find the weight of Anna's dog at age 4. Not all numbers and symbols may be used. All right, so at birth, it was 5 5/8 pounds. And then by age 4, it weighed 6 times as much. So I hear 6 times, so that must be one of the ones I'm going to choose. So I'm thinking I'm going to choose 6 times, because I heard it. Did you hear it? By age 4, the dog weighed 6 times as much as this, 5 5/8, right? So we'll just take this, put it over there. All right. That's all we have to do for that one. We don't even have to solve it. Number 12. Asta made a fraction number line to help her find 3 times 4/5. Select a way to write 3 times 4/5 as the product of a whole number and a unit fraction. Okay, so a unit fraction is a fraction that has 1 as the numerator. A unit. Uni means 1, like a unicycle has 1 wheel, right? Okay, so basically we're trying to figure out what would be the same as 3 times 4/5. Okay, so let's look. This is one group of 4/5, 2 groups of 4/5, 3 groups of 4/5. Okay, so we landed on 12/5. That's the answer to this here. But we have to figure out how to show it using a unit fraction. Well, I see in here we've got a 4 times 3/5. Well, that's not a unit fraction because a unit fraction has a numerator 1. So this one has a unit fraction, as does this one. So let's see which one's true. We know the answer is 12/5. So 12 times 1/5 would give us 12/5. 6 times 1/5 would give us 6/5. So our answer must be 12 times 1/5 because that's our answer. All right, number 13. Yusuf wanted to give 1/3 of his total car collection to 2 of his friends. How many of his toy cars will he give away? All right. So Yusuf wanted to give 1/3 of his total car collection to 2 of his friends. How many of his toy cars will he give away? Let's see. 1/3 of his total car collection to 2 of his friends. All right. So how many of his toy cars will he give away? True confession, I had to put myself on pause to figure this out because it wasn't making sense to me. So Yusuf wanted to give 1/3 of his total toy car collection to 2 of his friends. So friend 1, I guess, is getting 1/3 of the collection, and then friend 2 is getting another 1/3 of the collection. And it says, how many toy cars will he give away? The answer is 2/3. I think it's a little bit of an oddly worded question, but we're going to roll with it just as we do. All right, number 14. Select the correct product for the equation. All right, so we've got these choices. So 4 times 5/8. So you can count by 5/8 4 times. 5/8, 10/8, 15/8, 20/8. So we know this one's going to be 20/8. So we'll put this one over here. I'm not even going to try. I'm just going to write it. 20/8. All right. And then 4 times 5/8. I mean 4 times 4/8. That should be a 4, you guys. Whoopsie. This is a 4. 4 times 4/8. Okay, count by 4/8. 4 times 4/8. And then what's next? 8/8, which is a whole, which means the answer is going to be 2 wholes, otherwise known as 16/8. So 4, 8, 12, 16 eighths. All righty. Up next, we've got number 15. Looks like a long one. The lengths of different types of snakes at a zoo are shown on the table. Fun fact, I used to have a pet snake. All right, for numbers 15A to 15D, select true or false for the statement. All right, so first we need to look at this stuff. Snake's name, Kenny, Bobby, Puck. Type of snake, all right. Length, okay. Ooh, I'm missing my unit of measurement. Each one of these should say feet. Please forgive me. All right. 15A, Bobby is 4 times as long as Kenny. All right, is that true or false? Okay, so here's Bobby. He's 4.5 feet. Is that 4 times as long as Kenny? Well, 1 1/2 times 4 would give us something greater than 4.5. Let's check this out. 1 1/2 times 4. 1 times 4 is 4. Oh, I see what happened. Somebody got confused and just took the 1/2 and put it over here. But we can't do that. We actually have to multiply 1/2 times 4, which is the same as 4 halves. So it would be 4 halves, which is the same as 2. So 4 plus 2 is 6. So this one's false. Also, all right, number 15B. Bobby is 3 times as long as Kenny. All right, Bobby is 3 times as long as Kenny. So if you do 1 1/2 times 3, because that's Kenny is 1 1/2 feet long, and we're trying to figure out if Bobby's 3 times that amount, so we'll just do times 3. We'll see if we get the 4.5 feet. If we do, then it's going to be true. If we don't, it's going to be false. 1 times 3 is 3. 1/2 times 3 is 3 halves. And I know 3 and 3 halves is the same as, well, 3 halves is the same as 1 1/2. So I'm going to take my whole number 1 and add it to my 3. So 4.5. And it checks out because that's what it says Bobby's length is, 4.5. So that is a true story. All right. Number 15C. Puck is 5 times as long as Kenny. What do you think? Puck, 5 times as long as Kenny. Okay, so what are you going to do? How are you going to set this thing up? So we're going to do 1 1/2. 1 1/2 times 5 and see if we come up with Puck's length. If we do, it's a true. If we don't, it's a false. 1 times 5 is 5. Actually, let's try this one another way. So let's make this into 3 halves. So 1 1/2 is the same as 3 halves times 5 over 1. Doesn't matter how you solve it, just as long as you know what you're doing. 3 times 5 is 15. 2 times 1 is 2. 15 halves is the same as 7 wholes and 1/2. So did we get Puck's measurement? The answer to that is yes, making this one true. All right, let's see here. What do we have? Puck is 2 times as long as Bobby. All right, so if we multiply 4.5 times 2, will we get to 7.5? Guys, we can probably not even write that out because 4 times 2 is 8. So automatically it's not going to be true. So let's just go ahead and mark false. All right, let's do the next one. Number 16. Hank used 3.5 bags of seed to plant grass in his front yard. He used 3 times as much seed to plant grass in his backyard. How much seed did Hank need for the backyard? All right. So we know how much he had in the front yard. It's 3.5 bags. And he used 3 times as much in the backyard. Okay, and the question's asking just about how much he needed for the backyard. Okay, so 3.5 or 3 times 3.5. All right, now how would you do this? Are you going to use the distributive property? Are you going to turn this into an improper fraction? Doesn't matter how you do it, right? Okay, so let's use the distributive property for this one. So 3 times 3 plus, okay, so I did the whole number times the whole number first. Now I'm going to do the whole number times the fraction, plus 3 times a half. All right. So 3 times 3 is 9, plus 3 times 1/2 is 3 halves. Are you starting to memorize 3 halves is 1.5? Because we've had that a lot in the last couple answers, huh? So 3 halves is made out of a whole, which is 2 halves, plus another 1/2. So I know I could put this together. 2 halves is worth 1, so 9 plus 1 is 10. And then I still have my half left right there to add on. So I'm going to add on my half. So he needed a whopping 10.5 bags for the backyard. That's a lot. All right, number 17. Ooh, part A, part B. Ooh, we have to draw something too, okay. Just made a big kettle of rice and beans. He used 1.5 cups of beans. He used 4 times as much rice. Okay, so part A, draw a model to show the problem. Let's just cover the rest of everything else for now. Here we go. Okay, so just made a big kettle of rice and beans. He used 1.5 cups of beans. All right, so that's how many beans he used. He used 4 times as much rice. Okay, so I know I'm going to be drawing a model for rice and beans. Okay, and I know for the, oops, I don't want a circle. I want a rectangle. All right, for the rice, he used 1.5, or excuse me, for the rice, he used 4 times the amount of what he did for the beans. So for the beans, I know he used 1.5. So I'm going to put 1.5 here. Right? So actually, I think I'm just going to duplicate. So he used that for the beans. So he's going to use 4 times as much for the rice. So we're going to make it 4 times, right? 1, 2. Here comes 3 and 4. So that's what our model would look like. Okay, now I'm going to guess we have to solve. Let's see. Part B, use your model to write an equation. Okay, we have to write an equation. Oh, now we have to solve. Then solve the equation and find the amount of rice Jess needs. Okay, so the rice is the big question, this time. Okay, so let's think about this. Let's use R for rice because why not? So the amount of rice would be 4 times 1 and 1/2. And you can actually see the 1 and 1/2 is written out 4 times, right? 1 and 1/2. So it's important to make these visual connections, right? It's very helpful as we're thinking about math. Okay, so maybe we're going to do that, and now we're going to solve. So let's do 4 times 1 and 1/2 is the same as 3 halves. Which would equal 4 times 3 is 12 halves, and then we're going to put our halves on there, which is the same as 6. All right, so Jess needs 6 cups of rice. Make sure you put your sentence on there. Don't just leave it like this. Okay, make sure you have your answer as specific as you can. Ooh, we have another part A, part B. All right. So now we've got Mrs. Burnham. Mrs. Burnham is making modeling clay for her class. Oh, that sounds fun. She needs 2/3 cup of warm water for each batch. Okay, so 2/3 cup for each batch. Part A. Mrs. Burnham has a 1 cup measuring cup that has no other markings. Can she make 6 batches of modeling clay using only the 1 cup measure? Describe 2 ways you can find the answer. Ooh, well, I've kind of been doing that all along with you, so we're set up for 2 different ways. Okay, so can she make 6 batches? All right, so we're going to go and think about this. 6 times 2/3 would equal what? Well, you know that you can count by 2/3 6 times, right? 2/3, 4/3, 6/3, 8/3, 10/3, 12/3. So you can count by, and you would have to show your counts. If I showed that, you would be here forever. So make sure you know that I would have written that out, all those counts, because it says you have to show. Or maybe you could draw out a number line. Or you could say the 6th multiple of 2/3 is 12. Um, 12, that's 12/3. Right? Okay. So you could do that, or you could show another way that you would want to solve. So now let's talk about, can she make the 6 batches? The answer to that would be yes, because 12/3 is the same as what? She can use the 1 cup measure 4 times to make 6 batches. So yes, can dip the 1/3 or the 1 cup measuring cup 4 times to make 6 batches. All right. All right, here we go. Next one. Oops. The modeling clay recipe also calls for 1/2 cup of cornstarch. Nikki says Mrs. Burnham will also need 4 cups of cornstarch. Do you agree or disagree? All right, so let's see. We've got 1/2 cup of cornstarch is needed. And Nikki says that she's going to need 4 cups of cornstarch for those 6 batches, right? So basically 6 times 1/2. All right, so this is what Mrs. Burnham will need. Now, is 6 times 1/2 the same as 4? Let's find out. 6 times 1/2 is the same as 6 halves, which is the same as 3, not 4. So I would write, I disagree. I disagree because she needs 3 cups of cornstarch, not 4. All right, number 19. Donna buys some fabric to make placemats. She needs 1/5 yard of each type of fabric. She has 9 different types of fabrics to make her design. Use the following equation. Write the number in the box to make the statement true. All right, so let's look at this. We've got 9/5 equals blank times the unit fraction 1/5. So how many times would you have to count by 1/5 to get to 9/5? The answer to that would be 9. That's all we have to do. Number 20. Mr. Twin uses 5/8 of a tank of gas each week to drive to, let's see, I want to make sure I got this fraction typed up, to and from his job. I shouldn't have this 1/5 right here. That threw me off. All right, Mr. Twin uses 5/8 of a tank of gas each week to drive to and from his job. How many tanks of gas does Mr. Twin use in 5 weeks? Write your answer 2 different ways. All right. So in 5 weeks, so 5 weeks times 5/8 equals what? All right, so let's see. Let's do 5/1 because this is the same as 5, right? When you put a number over 1, it's just worth that whole number, whatever the numerator is. So 5 times 5/8 equals 25/8. Okay, so that's one way to write this. So Mr. Twin uses 25/8. Or, now let's put it into a mixed number. So I know I can pull out 24/8. That's going to be equal to 3 wholes, right? Because if you count by 8 3 times, you get to 24. So that's 3 wholes right there. And then there'd still be 1/8 left. So I know I could also write this as 3 1/8. So 3 1/8 goes here. So Mr. Twin uses 25/8, otherwise known as 3 1/8 tanks of gas. Number 21. Rico is making 4 batches of salsa. Each batch needs 2/3 cup of corn. He only has 1/3 cup measure. How many times must Rico measure 1/3 cup of corn to have enough for all the salsa? All right. So each batch needs 2/3 cup of corn, right? So let's see if I can grab that fraction. Yeah. Okay. So this would be equal to 1 batch. 1 batch is equal to 2/3 cup of corn. Now, he only has a 1/3 measuring cup. So he's going to need to scoop the measuring cup 2 times per that batch. So scoop 2 times. This is like just my little thought bubble over here, just my little notes, because it's made up of a 1/3 and another 1/3. Now he's going to make 4 batches, right? So now I have to take my 2 times per batch and multiply it by 4 batches. 2 scoops per batch times 4 batches equals 8 scoops. Right? Does that make sense? All right, so I know he has to scoop 8 times. All right, kids, that's the end of your Chapter 8 math review. Make sure you are defending your answers and showing your work when you're taking your assessment. See you next time. Bye.